Flying is truly hypnotic. It's almost as if the sky is luring you to get lost. The one thing pilots learn early is that takeoff is optional, landing is not. Hopefully this basic navigation video will help you learn the skills to get you where you need to go. The video is split into 3 parts: where to go, navigation tools, and a tutorial including the E6B Calculator. Please remember to like and subscribe. So the first part of any journey is to pick a destination. Although he was talking about life, Seneca said, "To a man with no destination in mind, no winds are favourable." This fits fine with aviation. These are the following resources that can help you choose where to go. So we have Paulie's Flight Guide, the Lockyear's Guide, and Skydemon. Although the focus of this video is traditional navigation, Skydemon can provide you with up-to-date information of active strips. There are also reviews and also contact numbers for requesting a PPR. Always get a PPR before you land anywhere. Lockyear's Private Strips Guide provides you with an overview map. It also provides further contact details inside. The Paulie's Flight Guide provides a lot of general information at the front, as well as plates for the airports. It is updated yearly, so always check that the plate information is still current. For my trip, picking the destination was easy as I was given them. I was asked to plan a navigation between Sackville, Fenland and Leicester. Initially I drew a straight line between them, then I modified this to take heed of the Continent ATZ, the rotary mats, and of course the airspace around East Midlands Airport. One thing you need to be particularly careful about when navigating by chart rather than moving map technology is airspace infringement. Next thing to do is to inspect the plates. We need to ask, would it be possible to land even on the best of days before we even consider adverse weather? So we can see at Fenland both 1836 and 0826, both with over 500 metres of space, so it should be possible to get a microlight in there. Also, unlike Sackville, both Fenland and Leicester have multiple strips to land on. This helps as we have more of a chance of landing into wind. Inspect the plate carefully. It has important information such as the elevation of the airfield, hazards, radio frequency for requesting field information, as well as broadcasting your position in the circuit. Also pay attention to the noise abatement and try to comply unless it puts you in danger. It's also worth checking out the website as other critical information may be available, such as whether bacon rolls are available. The overall trip looks about 100 miles in length, well within the fuel capacity of the aircraft. Avgas is also available at Fenland and Leicester, and it can be mixed with existing fuel for the Rotex 912. So as the trip looks outwardly feasible, let's get into some of the detailed planning and tool use. Important features on the map include the grid and these maximum elevation figures. So if we go back to this one, the highest feature in this grid square is 1300 feet. So it's indicated in thousands and hundreds. So this is a square protractor. You've got various features. The angles are measured around the outside. You have these orienteering lines in the middle. These need to be aligned with grid north on your map. Wherever you're measuring from needs to be aligned carefully with the centre point. So if I want to work out how to get from Whitstable to the Cornwall air farm, I can use my protractor to measure the angle. First I need to centre the protractor over the harbour. I need to make sure my grid line is aligned with grid north as accurately as I can. And then I can measure the angle around the outside here. So it's 39 degrees. This is your scale map rule. It's important to notice the different scales. So on one side you have 1 to 250,000. On the other side you have 1 to 500,000. If you get these wrong, your measurements on the map will be incorrect. I'm using a 1 to 250,000 scale map. This is your VFR flight log. So we have minimum safe altitude, planned altitude, true airspeed, true track, wind and velocity, so that's wind direction and velocity, true heading, magnetic heading, ground speed, distance, and then the time, which we can work out from those two. and then we have an estimated time of arrival and a true time. You would take minimum safe altitude from the minimum elevation figures on your map. What I'd tend to do is then add 500 to 1,000 feet, so that ensures you have clearance from any ground obstacles. Your true airspeed is either what you're doing at the time or what you're planning to, so I tend to use a figure of about 70 knots for this. Your true track is what you've worked out on your map from your grid north. The wind and velocity you'll get from your weather forecast or live information, and then you'll need to account for that because the wind will blow you off course. So you can use your E6B calculator for that. In this column you can make an adjustment for magnetic north. In the UK you don't really need to. Where I live at the moment, magnetic deviation is about 15 minutes, so it's about 1/4 degree, so it's negligible compared to wind effects. So just a quick word on magnetic declination. It's important that you realise that grid north and magnetic north are two different things. Magnetic north is constantly shifting due to molten iron around the core. The magnetic field is actually generated in the same way as our weather, with the Coriolis effect. The spinning of the Earth causes a rotation of the molten iron that creates a dynamo. At the moment I said it was 15 minutes east. If you go back to the 1960s, the magnetic declination in London was actually -10 degrees. So what this meant was the compass would actually tell you were 10 degrees further east than you actually were. Obviously 10 degrees is quite substantial in navigation, whereas 15 minutes isn't. I've also been a bit naughty as I've been switching my declination and deviation terms. Declination is due to the movement of magnetic north. Magnetic deviation is actually the error on the compass that's caused by things such as the surrounding aircraft. With the compass on your aircraft you should actually see a deviation card beneath it. You may say something like for 30 degrees, steer 31. So this is ground speed. From your E6B calculator you'll be able to work out whether the wind is speeding you up or slowing you down relative to the ground. Distance is how far you need to go, so you can measure this using your scale map ruler, and then you can work out the time it will take you based on these two figures. Time is a useful feature to measure because you can track whether you're on target. So if you expect to arrive at Leicester within 30 minutes and it's been 40 minutes and you can't see it, you've probably gone wrong. On the way around I've also marked tick off features. So these are things like airfields, reservoirs, windmills, all things that can be really useful to tick off as you go past. So let's have a look at doing this first leg from Sackville to Alconbury. Let's measure the distance. So here we have about 12 miles. We need to work out our minimum safe altitude. So you can see in this grid square here, the maximum elevation feature of the area is 1,000 feet. So I'd probably add 500 to this. So if we say 1.5, this means we can clear any feature in the area. This is planned altitude. Let's just say 25. Speed 70. So our track true. So you can see there's a grid line here. I need to line these lines up with the grid line and obviously get my feature right in the centre. So there's Sackville. So I'll try to do that now. Try to be as precise as possible. And then I can read off my degrees here. About 55. So the wind and the velocity is a bit different. So 15, 12. So okay, so we've got 270 knots at 15. So back to the E6B, I need to put 270 underneath the true index. see 270 degrees there. I next need to mark 15 knots up, so if I place it on 150 and count plus 15, it's 165. So I'll put a little dot there. And now I want to be going at 55 degrees. So now I move this to 55. Well, let's see 55. And I need to move this up to my airspeed. So say 70 knots. And I just need to move this dot up to 70. So there we go. And then this is my ground speed. So it's actually pushing me at 82 knots. You can see the angle is off at this line. So I need to subtract 3 degrees. True, heading true. So that is 52. Magnetic doesn't really matter as we're in the UK. And then just need a quick calculator to work this out. You then repeat the process. So here you can see I've finished my flight log. I've tallied up the distances, so I've got 100 nautical miles to do. I've worked out my flight time. From that we've got fuel consumption, so it burns about 18 litres an hour, the road tax. Multiplied that by the duration, so 36 litres of fuel required, and I've added another 20 litres to give me a total endurance of 3 hours. So I think I'll leave it there for now. I'll do another video on weather and planning you need to do right before the flight. Anyway, let me know if you think that was helpful, and please like and subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you to all of those who have already subscribed. I'm almost up to 30 people now.